back. We are back. I'm happy. I'm fucking excited. Hang on a second. Fuck this.
Fuck it.
I'm excited. I'm excited about this because we're back on TikTok. Follow that shit so I can get it off the screen. I'd make sure I'd pass the 30 seconds since I don't want to pay people that use profanity on their site. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm Elijah 5000. And we are here for not the One Piece full spoilers because for some reason we're getting weeks now where we skip those, but the One Piece TCB scans. Now that you have followed all of the social medias, I'll put this back up at the end of the show. I keep forgetting to get that. Hang on one second. This has been a crazy morning. TikTok finally decided to work. We have some new metrics that are involved into the show. I'm very fucking excited. Hopefully YouTube, you guys are in chat as well. Let me know wherever you guys are watching from. Let me know you're here. If you're from Kick, give a shout out in chat. If you are from Twitch, if you are from Facebook, TikTok, wherever you're from. Ooh, I don't think we are streaming to YouTube right now. I don't know. I don't think we are. But wait one second. Let me grab something and I'll be back. The music that you're listening to is the incomparable Rifty Beats. Plays anime, video game, trap themes, fucks them up all the time and in a good way. So listen to this. I'll be right back. Yes, it is. So many things have happened lately. I have been on my fucking toes for a while, folks. Moving around, but we're here. We are back. I'm excited about this. We have the TCB full chapter in. I again was expecting to have the full scans at some point in time because today it is Friday. That's only one day late. TCB scans usually Thursday, but for some reason, nope, no full spoilers. Straight from brief spoilers to TCB. That means Sunday we will get the actual full version, the official Shonen Jump version, which I will read and you guys will see on the screen. But right now I'm going to read this chapter to you and give you the play-by-play. Audio sounds good. Make sure to share with your friends. If you have Amazon Prime, right now He-Man, the Masters of the Universe is on. Fuck you if you don't like it. It was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It reminded me of my childhood. There were some things that were changed. There were some things I may have wanted earlier, but that's okay. We're not talking about that. If you have an Amazon Prime, you have a free subscription every month. So if you are a Twitch watcher, any fucking streamer that you like, any of them, you can use that on without any cost to you, and it helps support their stream. Now, if you already support the stream, I have friends down below on twitch.tv/edge2gaming. Go there, look at their pages, and use your free subscription to help them out. If you want to go a little bit further, there are discounts on subscriptions this month. Go ahead and check, and I will be gifting subs as we go through a lot of new things. If you have been watching and following the channel, we have the Aoshi Gauntlet right now, the Old Heads ranking tier list is in effect. I will talk about that more on my next stream, but right now this is One Piece. This is your place, Edge2 Otaku, if you're following on YouTube, and Edge2 Gaming everywhere else. We funnel shit through. It's called outsourcing, folks, but that is the place where you get all anime, manga news, reviews, reactions, all that shit, and that's what we're doing here today with One Piece TCB scans for chapter 1189. Before we do that, let me go ahead and throw. Oh, look at that. You guys are just doing the Lord's work now. Well, you did partially the Lord's work. Thank you. But I want to give a shout out to these motherfuckers over here. These some bitches that know that you love gaming. And, I do have to change this for the TikTok. And you want to make your Nintendo Switch the fucking Apple of your eye. You want to be walking down the street with this fucking Nintendo Switch and people like, hey, let me see that sexy ass Nintendo Switch. Go to switcheries.com. Use promo code EDGE2 or EDGE10 to get 10% off your online purchase. If you go to switcheries.com, they have every version of the Nintendo Switch. You just click on one and you can pick from pouches, cases, thumb grips, and more. Click on that and it'll take you to a plethora, if they have a plethora in there, of different thumb grips that you can put on your Nintendo Switch. I like the Sailor Moon Luna, but they also have Kirby, just so many different things. But this is where you can go. Use promo code EDGE10 to get 10% off your online purchase at switcheries.com for your Nintendo Switch. And if you like to eat like I do, Garfield was one of my role models when I was younger. So was Sonic the Hedgehog. So is Naruto. Ramen is fucking delicious. I don't like sodium. Sodium's not good for me. Anyway, IMU'S, IMMIEATS.com. Use promo code EDGE2G to get $5 off your online purchase of one of their 6 different flavors. You can go down here. They're the world's first high fiber, high protein, low carb, low sodium ramen. Black garlic chicken, tom yum shrimp. You have spicy beef, spicy red miso, creamy chicken, and then the roasted pork tonkatsu. You can follow them on social media, and they'll show you delicious, nutritious, amazing ways to cook up your ramen and make it look good and shit. So if you got a date, go online, IMU'S.com, EDGE2G, $5 off. Cook it up real nice. Like, where'd you get this from? If you're in Oklahoma, Tamashi Ramen. And if she's down with Tamashi, she'll know if you're lying or not. But still, it's the effort that counts. They also have a store locator where you can go on and see if there's a store in your area where you can go and pick these straight up off the shelf. You just don't get the discount if you do. That being said, fucking support them. IMU'S ramen is delicious. As a food eater, myself as a ramen eater, I would not lie to you. There's no reason to lie to you anyway. I don't know who the fuck you are. You're part of the community. I'd like to get to know you, but there's no reason to lie. Just purchase the shit. All right, so let's get into this chapter. Chapter 1189. Oh, wait a second. I can't. You son of a bitch. Let's do this. There we go. Let's start this chapter again. Chapter 1189, King of the World is what this bitch is titled. We see Nami pointing her finger back, scolding 3 monkeys that actually have faces like Zoro, Luffy, and Sanji. There's mud on the clothes that are out on the hanger. Zoro is covering his mouth. Luffy's got his hand on his head, and the Nika stands laughing. And then Sanji's got his hands on his ears. The hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, as he has heart eyes looking at Nami. It says cover request by Toshikazu. The 3 proverbial wise monkeys sit in Seiza as Nami lectures them for their mischief. So the page covers haven't been anything that alludes to a story or backstory. These have just been fun reader requests. Now we get into this chapter. We last left off with our boy, the current Joy Boy, Monkey D. Luffy getting stabbed just like a little leaf. Because we saw when Imu pulled out the blade of nothingness, the leaves on the branches of these big ass trees in Elbaph started to wither. As Luffy got stabbed, he started to shrivel up too. It says Luffy after just one hit from Imu. Blood gushing from his mouth, face droopy, head back, still in Nika form, and Imu just with the dainty little eyes on him looking. And then as he continues to thrust, he's pushing Luffy towards a tree. And Luffy's, and bam, with the sword of nothingness, has pinned Luffy to a tree. Black flame still coming off the back end of the sword, the blade straight through Luffy. And Imu thrusting with his right hand. And then all of a sudden our boy, Yasof's son, the man who ran around his village lying every goddamn day of his life, Usopp, he senses something in the ether. He turns, what? And Nami says, what's wrong, Usopp? And he says, it's Luffy. I'm just worried if he's going to be all right. And we see Usopp with his hand on his head, looking back out in the Elbaph. They can't see shit. It's just the big Aegis tree. And then Nami says, what? Why are you being so ominous all of a sudden? And then she says, of course he'll be fine. And then Jinbei looks. He's like, don't forget his opponent swiftly defeated a large giant, Nami. And then we see Loki on his back with Jinbei standing arms crossed. just, but you know, proud as a motherfucker in front of him. And we have a big ass Ragnar on the side, and we have the Straw Hats up on the cliff. And Loki say, "Hey, Fishman, who the hell are you saying he defeated?" And then Ragnar. Oh, and it's not Ragnar. It's I don't know why the text bubble. Oda does this sometimes. The text bubble is near Ragnar's face, but it's Jinbei says, "All I can say for sure is that Luffy's hockey suddenly weakened just now." Then, oh yeah, we gotta zoom in for this one because we have a double page, and it's back to Brooke. Brooke is sitting down with Frankie. And they're talking. Frankie says, "There, she's completely thawed out." And Brooke says, "Princess Shuri." Frankie says, "We shouldn't warm her up too quickly," which they haven't talked to Aikiji or anybody. This is just Frankie's knowledge. Remember, Frankie was also in the land of Vegapunk where he was born. It was icy ass cold. And Brooke says, "Don't worry, I don't have any body heat." Still making jokes. And then he leans and he says, "What happened back then? Tell me about that time. It is you, isn't it?" As he's looking at Shuri, holding her head, leaning down. "Princess Shuri." And then Ragnar goes, "Squeak, squeak," as he leans over and looks at Brooke. Brooke looks up at Ragnar, who's behind Frankie, and Usopp is back there. Did Usopp? I think Usopp just drew on Ragnar. Hang on. This motherfucker ain't done shit this whole time. He did. Usopp draws back, and he says, "Stay back. Don't get in the way." And Ragnar says, "Squeak, squeak, gee, gee." And then Brooke says, "Brooke, are you good here? If things get scary, then." As he's looking at Brooke, we see, boom, a big ass ship. Harald, Gerd, Chopper in his monster point, guard point form, all fall and crash into Loki. Ragnar luckily jumps out of the way. Hopefully Jinbei's cool. And we hear Chopper say, "Guard point, poof," as he catches Gerd right before she hits Loki. Oh, and right before this, we get Harald, "We're going too fast." As they're holding on to a fall, and Loki looks at them seconds before they crash into him. And then after they crash, we hear Usopp, Nami, and Jinbei. Usopp goes, "What are you guys doing here?" Nami says, "Harald, Gerd, Chopper." And Gerd is hugging Chopper, smiling, says, "Thank you, Chopper-kun. You're so cute and reliable." And then she pushes back and she looks at Loki as Chopper goes back to his tiny form and says, "Please," or "Praise like that doesn't make me happy or anything, you jerk." Chopper says. He starts dancing. We see like little musical notes near his head. And then Gerd says, "I need to hurry, Loki. Let me look at those wounds." Gah! And Loki is bleeding because Gerd goes straight into that next sentence. Says, "Oh my God, there's blood everywhere. This is bad." Harun's holding his head as he has a bandage. His eye is bandaged underneath his helmet. We continue. Loki says, "You guys will make my injuries worse. What did you come here for?" And Harald breathing, and he's thinking, "Harald, it's a waste of time for you to make a stand here," as he was talking to Chief Gerald before they got here. He says, "Go back up, Loki." And then Harald says, "But the kids." And Gerald says, "Even if we rescue the children, it'd be just a temporary reprieve. Their goal is to totally subjugate Elbaph by force. Do you really think this is a position they just decide on at the Reverie?" He says, as Gerald's talking to him, he looks to the side with the sword still sticking through his head. "That can't be the whole story, right? That man is likely at the heart of all this." And then we go right back to the present. Gerd is bandaging up Loki. Harald standing looking out, and he goes, "Loki, do you have any idea who this guy is?" And then Loki says, "Yeah, sort of." And we see Elbaph in flames. Then Imu holds his hand up. He says, "It seems thou art unable to move," as another sword comes out. And Luffy, wheezing, coughing, pinned to a tree. Both hands on this sword. Imu says, "This sword feeds on life force. How many slashes can thou endure before perishing?" As Luffy eyes are closing, still in gear 5, breathing, blood dripping down his face. This is the worst we've ever I say the worst we've ever seen Luffy. When Luffy gets that shit kicked out of him, this is just one of them moments. It's looking like ass right now. Imu still standing over him, sword in his left hand. He says, "Monkey D. Luffy, such a detestable name to Mu, and yet thou hast 2 elder siblings who go by different names." And Luffy is shocked. As Imu holds the sword starts to drain the energy and destroys a tree. And as the tree is destroyed, he says, a brother slain by the Navy, and the other is a prominent member of the Revolutionary Army, and Luffy is still huffing and puffing. Imu draws back with his left hand this time, so he stabbed Luffy with the right hand, now stabs with the left. Fragrach! Luffy stabbed again. Now, the Blade of Nothingness was stabbed through Luffy at an angle downward. This one is stabbed straight through, right next to the other sword. Imu says, what an ill-mannered trio of siblings. Luffy, head back, blood shooting from his mouth. And then, he must be the one that we spoke of. And we travel back to Loki and Harald, as Loki says. Loki says, red hair mentioned him back then. And then we travel back to a flashback right after King Harald was defeated by Loki. And with this ability, I'll make sure Pops and those soldiers have no regrets, Loki says. As he's standing there talking, Chief Jarrell's to his left, Scopper Gaban sitting with his legs crossed right next to Shanks on his right. Scopper looks at him, and then Shanks says, hold on, Loki. I know you're angry, but you can't do that now. He said, what are you talking about, red-haired? As he turns and he faces him and Gaban. Are you really going to stand in my way when I want payback for my dad? I considered Harald a friend. I'd like nothing better than to avenge him too, Shanks says. But he says, but you have to think clearly. The government just attempted to take over Elbaph. Your priority should be to prepare for war. And at this point, because people were talking about it, they hadn't really... I mean, we've seen this before, but I guess it gets lost on people. Shanks had his scar on his eye already at this time. And he's looking dead ass at Loki. Because this was one of the things that people were asking. When Shanks caught Loki, how did he capture him if Loki is this strong? What kind of conversation did he have for him? Loki was going out for revenge. This is where we're getting that information. Still in the past, Loki leans in and he says, huh? A full-on war with the world government? That's not what I have in mind. This is personal. Dad and those men have regrets I need to lay to rest. I'm talking about revenge on the ones responsible. And Shanks looks up. He says, and just who is that? Who's your target? Loki says, all those world government bastards, he yells. And then Shanks gets cold as fuck, just like when they shot the mountain bandit. He goes, the one who tried to use Harald is king of the world. Silence. Loki's shocked. Loki's laughing in the background after the shock, but Chief Jarrell is still shocked. He goes, what are you saying, Shanks? The world government has no sole ruler. It contradicts everything they stand for. And then we hear, hey, Shanks. And then Shanks goes, it's okay if you don't believe me. And then Loki says, if there is a secret king, I can just take his head and be done with it. Even if you make it to the Holy Land, the king's power is immeasurable. And that's if you can make it there, Shanks says. There is someone who managed it once. And then Loki remembers Davy D. Zabek. And then Shanks goes, we don't need to rush into this fight just yet. Shanks has been holding. Shanks has been waiting. You guys got onto fucking Dragon for waiting. Shanks did the same thing. Come on now. Loki's walking away with some soldiers with Ragnar over his shoulder away from Chief Jarrell, Shanks, and Scopper Gaban. He says, shut it already. You don't get to boss me around. I don't care where that prick is hiding. I'll destroy everything in my way. And Chief Jarrell says, don't do anything stupid, Loki. And then we see the snow start to fall in Elbaph, just like it did the day that Ida died. Now back to the present. We see those few years I left the country, Loki says, as Gerd is trying to bandage his wounds. I wasn't even able to make it to him. Hang on a second. It's the mail boys. Okay. They get cranky when the mailman come. So he says, I wasn't even able to make it to him as he's talking to Harald. If the king of the world really has come out to play, this is the perfect chance. Now we see Harald and Loki, two brothers. Hey, he's not even at the door no more. Shut the fuck up now. See, this is what they do. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, it's the car. My bad. See, you got to correct yourself. Sometimes I'm in the wrong. Sometimes I'm in the wrong. Okay, the car's gone. Okay, so we see Harald and Loki sitting there, Gerd still bandaging him up. And then Hyrule turns slightly and says, "You're so simple-minded." And Loki says, "Say what?" But Hyrule goes, "But." And as the camera zooms in, his left eye is just that dead soul, I'm gonna fuck somebody up eye, right eye still bandaged. He says, "I have no objections in this case. I'm gonna take him down, our father's enemy." Then we see Jinbei, arms crossed, standing next to Nami, Usopp, and then it is Brook and Ragnar, and then Chopper. Jinbei says, "This is an unreal conversation." And then Nami says, "If the world has a king, then what role do the five elders play or serve?" Then Brook says, "I just told you not to get in the way." And then we see Ragnar, "Cheep, cheep, cheep." And then Chopper says he froze her because she's dangerous. Finally getting Chopper, like, communicating with some animals. And we need Chopper to get to Biblo, because Biblo's done some crazy shit, but we're not talking about Biblo right now. And then he goes, "Huh? You're the one who froze her," Brook says. And Brook yells, "Well, she may indeed be dangerous, but I assure you it's not her fault. She was being controlled. This girl is like a daughter to me." And then Ragnar, like, looking at him like, "What, nigga, you a bone and she a girl?" He goes, "Cheap." And then you see like an arrow pointing from Brook to Shuri and from Shuri to Brook. He's confused. And then we see Robin coming in with another shadow clone jutsu. She goes, "Sounds like there's a lot of interesting things going on here." Nami's like, "Robin," as she looks to the side. Actually, she looks to the left. Then we see Chopper. And Robin says, "Chopper, I want you to come to the library right away." And then Chopper looks. He goes, "Saul." And Saul is yelling and waving from the frozen library, "Howdy." Then in the next panel, we go back to where Imu is. Imu holds the hand up again and says, "Next is," as another weapon comes out of his shadows. He says, "Oh my." Luffy's breathing, still pinned to the tree. And Imu says, "Apologies, but this is the next blade thou must suffer." How unfortunate. The third one up is XingTian, and it's a huge axe. This is the first time we've seen an axe, but if we go back to the throne room, like I said in the brief spoilers, and you look at those weapons that are around the throne, there are 3 distinct axes up there and a lot of different swords. I didn't see any spears. I saw rapiers. I saw different blades, but not spears. So they may be behind. But as he says that, Luffy breathing heavy, still in gear 5, and going, as life is being drained from him. And then we go to the Sea Cloud Port Western Village. "King of Hell, 3-sword dragon, 103 mercies." And then we hear, "Yeah," as our boy St. Killingham has his sword in his right hand, getting ready to swing. Zoro comes down and says, "Dragon damnation," as he strikes with all 3 of his blades towards St. Killingham, or St. Sommers' Graham attack. And then as he strikes, "Yeah," he still laughs. And now it's time for the monologue. He goes, 800 years ago, the 19 kings who forged our world made a vow of equality. They placed their swords all around the empty throne to mark that oath." And Zoro's like, "Okay, what?" He's like, "Okay," as he's still trying to attack. As they stand off, ching, 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 battling, clashing, Sommers starts naming them: Iohu, Bohu, Nemesis, Longnusus, Stigma, Maramasha, the 19 world weapons. They were all laid to rest there. But guess what? When the Great One revived us with Omen, he granted us access to them. I'm not lying. Their power is a legend that lives on through the great houses. Get it, Roronoa Zoro? And Zoro goes, "This is the power," or no, Sommers, as Zoro's breathing heavily, says, "This is the power that reigns over the world." And then he lengthens his sword out and says, "This is the weapon of the House of Shepherd, Graham." And we see flames start to come off of Graham, as Graham has thorns around the hilt and all around Sommers' hands, and Zoro just stares at him. And in the next panel, we jump to St. Killingham and Sanji, and he goes, "Meet the weapon of House Rimoshifu," as he's holding in his right hand a spear that has flames coming off of it. Longness. So we have 2 swords. We have Graham and Longness, and we've also had what was the one earlier? The Luffy got hit. We got to go back and see what the name of this one was. The axe. The axe was XingTian. And then the second sword, we have the Sword of Nothingness and Fragach Fragach might be the attack. Did he say a name? He didn't say a name for this sword. So we're going to see what these swords are named. I want to know what countries, what kingdoms they were aligned with. But after we see Saint Sommers pull out Graham, Saint Killingham bring out Longest, it goes back to Imu with an axe in his hand, getting ready to strike Luffy. He says, "Thou shalt be honored to die by the arms that constructed this world." And Luffy is like straining, but still, you know, he's getting ready to die. He goes, as he's trying to strain, life force being drained from him. Then we see some bushy hair come, and right before Imu strikes, 2 axe blades hit his axe, and they clash with Haki. And we see the left wing of the Pirate King has arrived. Scopper Gaban. This nigga looked like he coated his whole body in Haki. But there's a break next week, so we will have a break, but that's okay. We're not there yet. Sunday is the official drop of this week's chapter. We will see what changes there were between the dialogue that we got here on the TCB scans and what we'll get on Sunday. We'll get the official names of these swords, and we'll start making a list of how many that we got. We have the 19 swords around the throne. We've had several names. Are any of these weapons, was Ragnar a part of this pact or not? I think anybody that partnered with Joey Boy kept their own weapons. Wano was closed off. Elbaph was closed off. Zunisha is wandering. All these places, they kept their sacred weapons to themselves to bring up those arms again when the next Joy Boy rose. So here's your TCB scans. Let me know what you think. Are there any theories for next chapter? The panels I saw are amazing. I can't wait for you guys to see them. I will make sure to put where I got the TCB scans in, because it's getting harder to get TCB scans and full scans. It's like these last couple weeks has just been weird summer weeks. I'll get you the information, but remember, the native Japanese speakers will always be in the description on YouTube on Edge to Otaku, and then any full spoilers, brief spoilers, TCB will also be linked in the description as well there. So thank you guys so much. I'm Elijah 5000. Stay tuned. The Ayashi Gauntlet starts now. 3 episodes, 10, 11, and 12. I'm on the ultimate journey to find out what the best soccer anime is and where I can put that soccer anime once we go through all of them on a tier list. I am creating my anime sports full course meal. If you don't know what that is, watch Toriko. I'm not going to give it to you right off the bat. You just got to join the streams, turn on notifications. If you have Amazon Prime, you get a free sub. You can use that. That keeps the lights on here so I can continue to do these for you, and you learn more and more about shows that you may not have seen and things you may enjoy and what my tier structure is. But I digress. One Piece is done. This chapter was fun. Imu said I had to come and lay some dick down. Luffy's getting pipe laid down. Zoro's doing good. Sanji's doing okay. I'm not gonna lie. Sanji needs to get over his masochistic shit, and I'm ready to see what happens with him. But thank you guys so much. Elijah 5000. Music from Rifty Beats. Find them on YouTube and Spotify. Support everybody that you can. This is the community for your anime and manga needs right here. Edge to Otaku, Edge to Gaming. I'm Elijah 5000. Oh yeah, let me put these up for you again because people wanted to follow me on the socials. Bam, there you go. Thank you guys. And I am happy that we are finally back on TikTok. I can't wait to see you guys in the next stream. Peace.